Ahsan Mahboob, who's the head of DigiMine here at University. And I'll be chatting to him mostly on with regards to digital mining, future-proofing the mining industry. I just want to say thank you to our sponsor, Menal, and also to the team back home, Tidiso, Kamo, and Mikele. And yeah, let's get things rolling. Dr. Ahsan Mahboob, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the mining conversation with MsTedy. My name is Tshepo Monyamane. And would you tell us about DigiMine and its significance in the underground mining environment?
Thank you for having me for this podcast. So DigiMine is a 21st century mining facility. It is the part of the BRICS Mining Institute, and the focus of the facility is to transfer the surface digital technologies for underground mining spaces. Why we are particularly focused on underground? Because underground is quite challenging. It's a complex environment, and the technologies most of the times they don't work the way they are supposed to work in that environment. So the idea is that how we can leverage those technologies to ensure that the underground environment is safe for our workers to go and work, and how we can actually put the technologies in an efficient way to maximize that distance between the risk and the mining risk. Ultimately, our vision is to have a mine of the future which should be green, sustainable, and safe and slow. So this is basically where the DigiMine research is happening. It's a postgraduate facility, so we have the postgraduate students across the disciplines. So it's a multidisciplinary facility. We have students from mining, we have students from electrical, mechanical, we have students from geosciences, geology, we have students from geography who are experts in GIS, and then we have doctors from medical as well, and social scientists, humanities. So it's a multidisciplinary facility which is solving the 21st century mining problems.
Interesting, thank you for that. Africa's mining wealth is unmatched, of course, but Africa, it's also less technologically advanced than other parts of the world. What challenges does the continent face in fully embracing the potential of smart data-driven mining?
That's a very interesting question, and I would like to share one of the statistics. So, a research report on global mining data was released in January this year, and according to the report, the technology penetration level in South African mining sector is the same as it is in the United States. So, which shows that we are adopting the technology, and as a matter of fact, we are at the forefront of applying the technology, in the mining sector. I think, in my personal view, in terms of beside the physical adoption of technology, if you are mining in Africa at the depth of 3.5 kilometer, 3 kilometer, you are already very innovative. You are already at a very high level of technology, or a different type of technology, but we are there. Now, when it comes to the adoption of technology, I think we need to put the things in context, and it is very important to understand that in Africa we have our own challenges and we have our own opportunities. Most of the time, these technology service providers, they looked at us as the end users, and that is basically where the things don't go right. Instead of the end users, I think it is very important that they need to look at us as the contributor towards the technology, so that we can build the technology with our people so that they can use the technology in an efficient way. So in Africa, I think as a whole, when it comes to the physical sort of application of technology, of course there are some limitations, but I think the key factor is the cost of the technology. Then of course the people who needs to use the technology, we need to uplift that particular sector as well, like upskilling, reskilling of our workforce. This is also very important. But at the same time, on the positive side, I think, as I mentioned, the technology level, adoption of technology level in Africa, and particularly in South Africa, is the same as it is in the first world countries like United States. So we are going there.
Thank you. And please outline how AI enhanced operations can positively improve the modern mine, and which areas of operation it is most likely to impact.
Another very important and interesting question when it comes to the AI. Most of the time we have seen that AI industry looked at AI as a silver bullet. We can solve many problems. But at the same time, it is very important that we need to look at the AI in a more responsible way. So, for instance, when it comes to the application of AI in terms of efficiency, there are a lot of opportunities. For example, now mining industry, we are sitting on a bulk of data set, like we have terabytes of data set. So we can leverage the generative AI and AI to transform that data into meaningful information, so that we can have informed decision making. So AI on the other side, AI can enhance the safety conditions in challenging environment. Instead of sending human workforce in challenging conditions, you can use AI on the robotics and the automation to ensure that the environment is safe for our workers to go and work. Then I think the other big advantage of AI is to link the communities with the mine management directly. So to give you an example, one of the projects that we are busy with European Union is to develop a chatbot, AI-powered chatbot. So the purpose is that intelligent community dialogue agent, ICDA, will link the mine management directly with the communities. So communities will use that application and they can report different problems, their issues, or their concerns, which will be noticed by the mining management. And there's a blockchain, time-stamped information. When the problem was reported, who addressed that problem, how much time, and then at the back end there is an AI analytics, which means you can see that okay, this is the hotspot area from where you are getting a lot of water-related issues. This is the hotspot from where you are getting a lot of noise-related issues. So you can have a proactive approach rather than reactive approach to the community. So I think AI has a lot of things, but at the same time, as I mentioned, it is very important that we need to be careful of the other side of AI, like AI biasness. The data that we use to train the AI models are not mostly from the mining sector. So how we can minimize that biasness in terms of prediction. And also I think it is very important that we need to adopt and use AI in a more responsible way. And lastly, it is very important to upskill our people again to use that AI so that they can use it to the full potential.
So it just speaks to the question of uplifting communities, community engagements with CSI, CSR, initiatives, and so on and so forth. Thank you for those insights. And aside from optimizing operations, how can real-time analytics assist in improving both safety and sustainability at the mine?
Okay. So the real time, the concept of real time is that if you are able to make a decision in the moment, that is the real time. But I think to have the real time information, it is very important to have the right infrastructure so that you can get the data from those different operations or different activities into a computerized environment in real time. Now, the first thing is that we need to have that infrastructure, of course. And I think when it comes to the real time, it is also very important to answer how frequent, what is the frequency of that real time. But if we can sort out those things, I think there's a big potential for real time data transformation when it comes to decision making. So, for instance, predictive maintenance. If you put sensors on your machine, which is doing different heavy duty operations in the mining environment, so you can get that predictive capabilities. You can get the information in real time, and you can actually predict when that particular machine is going to fail or stop operation. So it will actually help you to plan beforehand. Resource optimization, your workforce optimization, and at the same time your time efficiency energy. So real time has a big potential, but I think to get the real time, there's a lot of blocks that needs to put together so that we can get that thing.
Right, thank you. Now tell us about the importance of advanced analytics and AI, of course, in implementing effective autonomous solutions.
Okay, again, very interesting question. Advanced analytics, I think advanced analytics will play a big role going forward. As I mentioned that we are sitting on the wealth of data, we have terabytes of data. So these analytics can actually help you to convert that data in a reasonable amount of time into information. So for instance, your ventilation systems, which are giving you the ventilation conditions for in the environment, can be linked through the advanced analytics with the gas systems. The gas systems can be linked with your workers, safety protocols. So analytics can play a big role. I know that there is a company, and we have a partnership with that, MinSurf, in the country, and they're the first one in the space who are building the mining specific, what we call that AI models, and they're the first one. So I have seen the real value, for this MinSurf, through this MinSurf, the AI model which is specifically for the mining sector, and that model has been trained on the mine data. Like it used the mine. Plus, the good part is that that model has been trained on the wealth of experience, not only on the data, the wealth of experience, which can actually, what you call that, complement the prediction. So advanced analytics is of course the future, but again, the thing is that it requires computation, infrastructure again. Do we have that computational powers to solve that particular things? I heard that Microsoft achieved some breakthroughs in quantum computing.
Yes.
So hopefully one day we will have quantum computers instead of these computers in the lab, like our normal computers. Then we will be able to get that. But of course, going forward, I think analytics is the future to convert that 21st century oil, which is data, into information for the decision makers.
Very interesting. And lastly, just your final words on how the latest digital technologies can help to future-proof the mining sector, especially across the African continent.
Okay, yeah, of course, there's a big potential for to uplift the whole mining sector. When I say mining sector, I'm not only talking about the mining companies. It's a whole mining ecosystem, and which definitely includes our people. So I can see a big potential of the application of these digital technologies to uplift the mining sector along with our people. Like for example, now we can have mine-specific training programs to upskill our people. You don't need to take them out of mines. You can actually upskill or reskill them in their own environment. We can have real-time health analytics. Health is a big problem. People like TB and dust-related issues, the respiratory, the hearing issues. So the health analytics can actually address some of those particular challenges. So application of these sensors, the systems, and these kind of technologies, nodes. So this whole ecosystem, there's a big potential to improve the mining operations, to enhance the activities in the mines. And I think the big plus is that it will not only enhance and improve the mining activities, but we will do that in more sustainable and responsible way. Like for example, your ESG matrices. You can monitor your ESG matrices in real time. As you just said that AI and everything, I don't see the future of AI without mining as well. So it's like both of them needs to go together. Without those chips, without those materials, without those metals that are essentially required to achieve the future, the future-proof or the AI-based future or technology-based future is very difficult to achieve without those things. So mining and digital technologies, it needs to go parallel,
And of course,
and it needs to go hand in hand. and they need to complement one another.
Yes.
And I think the best thing is now we are doing mining in a more responsible way, and have minimum impact on the environment, on the people, but at the same time inclusive mining. How we can take everyone along the journey, not only just the shareholders, but I think the stakeholders, all of those, including those who are
students all the way to these big mining.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahsan. There you have it. There was Dr. Ahsan Mahboob, who was the head of DigiMine here at Wits University, chatting to us about digital mining and future-proofing the industry. Thank you so much for coming and having this conversation with us here at the Mining Conversation of MsTedy. And yeah, that was it. Thank you so much once again to our sponsor, Usmana, and also our team at home. Digiso Kamu Kele. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, thank you.
While we're waiting for Prof. Mojozi, I would really appreciate if we can have few words from Dr. Kasika, the head of School of Mining Engineering.
Thank you. Thank you. And then, is it good afternoon? Or is it
Morning.
still good morning?
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Look, I am the head of School of Mining Engineering, and I recall at the early days when we were starting this WMI. It was, and then those discussions we used to have it in the School of Mining boardroom, but that entity has evolved to what we now call a multidisciplinary Advanced Mining Institute. Although it still have the word mining in it, but how we see it in the faculty is that it's a multidisciplinary entity, and it is not necessarily belonging to mining, although most of the research are done into mining. And then back in those days, we're saying the school or different schools within the faculty would then focus on the fundamental engineering aspect in their respective disciplines. For example, the School of Mining is focusing on the fundamental mining engineering aspects and disciplines. But then we have WMI, where the students that come from these different schools can come and collaborate and use their fundamental knowledge in their base engineering disciplines to collaborate, to come up with innovative ideas in terms of how we then make and take the mining industry forward in terms of the technology, the application of the technology, anchored in that fundamental knowledge that coming from the discipline. Right? And then I think what we have seen, what we've heard from the presentation, the two presentations today, and then what we've seen in the tunnel, this is exactly what this is all about. Is this WMI is this multidisciplinary institute that incorporates, for example, the knowledge of mining, combining it with the knowledge of electronics to come up with a product that makes the mining environment safer and efficient. And then I think that's what this is all about. And then I think I will leave it up to there and then say thank you to DevNet for continuously being a partner in this evolution, in this as the mining space as it's evolved, as we make it safe, and then we appreciate your participation in that endeavor. Thank you.
I'm really proud to introduce our dean, Professor Thokozani Mojozi. Prof, as I mentioned earlier, he had commitment, so that's why he was unable to join us. But from his busy time, he made it to give us the closing remarks of this particular event. At the same time, it is also very important to highlight that Professor Mojozi's research, although he's a chemical engineer, but his research is very much on the sustainable practices, and that is basically linked in the whole faculty, that how we can have the responsible use of technology in across the disciplines for the faculty. So, Prof,
Right.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Ahsan. I thought there was going to be a podium here because I've got a 2-hour speech today. Okay, afternoon, everyone. Is it morning still? Right?
Morning, yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, so, yeah, good day, everyone. I just want to start off by really apologizing profusely for joining the meeting a bit late. I had other commitments. In fact, it's very interesting. It was another industrial partner. So whatever I was busy with is in line with what we are doing down here with the DevNet. Just want to recognize the leadership from DevNet. I'm not seeing Dr. Landman, but I'm seeing Jonathan. I don't know if there are others in the leadership. Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
three.
hi there. And I'll get to know. I don't think we've met.
Oh,
We haven't met. Yeah. And by the way, I know that there will be others as well from the leadership of DevNet and everyone that is here. I just want to recognize you and say thank you really for making time to be here, but above all for the donation or the contribution that you are making to the faculty. I won't be long because the head of school of mining engineering has said quite a mouthful. So I won't be too long, but it's important that I raise a few things with you as to where what we are doing fits in within the bigger scheme of things within the faculty. So we are very clear as to where we're going, because if you ask any member of this faculty, particularly our academics, as to where the faculty is going, you most likely will get the same answer. And that was for me as the dean very important, that at least all arrows must face in the same direction. So we made it our goal, our undeterred ambition, that this faculty should assume its place globally as a leader in the space of engineering and the built environment. So when we say we are competing, we're not competing about the guys down the road or someone somewhere in our vicinity. We are competing with everyone who work in our area, regardless of the space they find themselves in globally. So we are a global citizen, if I can call it that. But to achieve that, there are a few things that must get right. You can say you want to be the global citizen, you want to compete with the MITs of this world, of course, everybody can say that. But there are things that ought to be in place to at least start moving in that direction. One of them, of course, is funding. Without funding, we're not going to get state-of-the-art laboratories. That's what you see in all the leading institutions. We are a lab-driven program or fraternity as mentioned. So investment in laboratories or apparatus like the one that you just given us now, the last word, which I'm going to talk briefly about, that's exactly what we need. You have to have apparatus that no one else has for you to start moving in that direction. You also have to have the right caliber of academics. So as a dean, I can wake up in the morning and say, this is my vision. If I don't have academics who also share the same vision, who have what it takes to achieve that vision, it's not going to be achieved. It will just remain a dream. Unfortunately, for the boxes that I've just mentioned, I tick. We have some state of the art. Here you are enhancing us in that direction. I strongly believe I've got a critical mass of academics who really punch way above their weight, which is very good. The third ingredient for achieving the dream is the students. You see, you can do what you want if you don't have the right caliber of students. There's very little you can achieve in your dream. Fortunately, being at Wits, which is perhaps why some of us are here, we attract some of the best students this country can ever offer. So an average student that walks here has straight A's from the That's an average student. I mean, people call me sometimes parents at the beginning of the year. Prof, I've got my daughter here. She's got 5 A's and 2 B's. And I say, that's too low. And I said, the average student is 7 A's or 8 A's. So there's going to be huge competition. That is the caliber of students that we have. Now, the responsibility on our side is to keep those minds excited. These are excited. They're at the peak of their energy levels. So you have to make sure that they remain in that excited state. You know, when I was young, I remember there was the ground state for the atom and the excited state for the atom. And the difference is the energy. You just remove the energy and the electron goes back to the ground state. So I'm saying that just pumping the energy there, keep them at the excited state until they finish. That is my mantra to all my colleagues. So we have about 4 strategic objectives in the faculty, and I want to now demonstrate to you how, or indicate to you how your contribution perhaps fosters that in one way or another. I'm not going to mention all 4 because the 2 of these I don't think are relevant to this gathering here, but there are 2 of the strategic objectives that I want to share with you. One of them is really maximizing the impact of our research. How do we make sure that our research is impactful, and impact in its broadest sense? Not just impactful in terms of the general publications that we produce, but also impactful in terms of how it changes the lives of the people, ordinary people out there. How does what we do in these wars affect someone who is somewhere in Mamelodi or somewhere in Soweto or somewhere in Tunisia? How? We cannot remain in enclave. We can't be an enclave. We have to make sure that what we do here changes lives at the low level. So we want to improve the impact of our research and innovation. This contribution contributes immensely to that. We see here undergrads and postgrad students coming to use this facility for the purposes that it was designed. You know, because if you think about it, there is a gap at the moment between our students and industry. We always have to be mindful of the bridge that they have to cross from academia to industry. That's where you fit in that bridge. If you think of the bridge with pillars, you are definitely one of the strongest pillars in that bridge that they'll have to cross when they finish this degree. Because having just theoretical students today is also a problem. I mean, I'm told by my industrial partners, I'm not sure what your view is at DigiMine. Long time ago, young students, graduates, would tell you something new in the industry because they came with new knowledge from university. These days it's the other way around. The industry has to train them for a certain length of time before they really hit the ground running. It has changed. It was not like that before. I'm getting that feedback consistently from all my industrial partners. That actually, the first 18 months you don't see much. It's only after that. It was not like that. What that tells you is there is a gap between what we do here and what is happening out there. And we have to close the gap in one way or another. And this really goes a long way in making sure that we close that gap. Yeah, so the other one was, how do we transform our undergraduate curriculum? Talking briefly to what I've just mentioned now. What we've done actually is from this year, every student in the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment, as of last year, this is now the second year, the inaugural group was last year, they do what is called data-driven decision making, because we want to move squarely into the digital space. And we can't go there. We can't find ourselves in the digital space if we don't have the facilities that you guys are donating to us. When I say guys, by the way, I mean ladies and gentlemen. And in mathematics, it's okay to say, in mathematics, it's okay to use an X. So you are propelling us in a very big way into that space of digital technologies, and particularly for this contribution, which is about safe remote initiation in the main. I worked in DigiMine just for a while with an Anglo-American in my career, so I have a sense of the importance of what this is. Safety, for example, is a big thing in DigiMine. It's a huge contribution that you are making. The ability to do blasting remotely and monitoring in real time what's happening, that was not there when I was down there in the 90s, very early 90s. It was not there. These are new things that are coming up now, and we are making us reach there very quickly. So when we produce through this, we see our education at an undergraduate level enhanced immensely. Our students should be ready for industry. That 18 months that I spoke about, let's reduce it to about 6 months. And then I also see this contributing immensely to our research. So this institute here, as the head of school mentioned, it happens to be under the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, but it doesn't really belong to the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. It was just put here conveniently. It could be anywhere in the university. This institute attracts all students from all schools and all faculties. Here we find social scientists, we find geologists, we find people in the humanities. I mean, in CLM, we find the CLM Commerce Law and Management. So it's a place where everyone gets together, and we really want to break the silos that exist in our day-to-day operations. So most of what you'll see here is research and not undergraduate work. But again, that research in its entirety. Once it solidifies, once it becomes common knowledge, it fits into our undergrad. So there is a continuum of some kind. I can talk till tomorrow, but I just felt that those weights that are shared with you are very, very critical. You have actually chosen the best partner when it comes to Wits University, when it comes to the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment. And I say this with pride. You know, I don't think you would have gone anywhere else where we would be able to use this facility to the extent that we are going to be using this facility. And we've made it a point. You see, Ahsan is here. I've interacted with Ahsan quite regularly. I interacted with the head of school quite regularly. One of the things I say all the time to them is, we can no longer operate in isolation, leaving industry out of our space. So industry is our best ally in the search or chase for our dream. So you are the best ally in this equation. So I'll stop there for now, and I think I've done my duty in terms of welcoming you. And maybe before I leave this space that you've given me, I must reiterate my gratitude, my appreciation to GetNet. You were here in 2019 when we gave us the first web version 1, or I would say first generation. This is now the launch of Blast Web 2, which is, I would say, the next generation of the same generation. I hope we'll be seeing you again coming for the Blast Web 3 and Blast Web 4. Yes, it might be different faces here, but that is how I see this relationship. It must link away into the future. Our relations must be sustainable, otherwise they're meaningless. So I would assume that it sounds like a joke now the way I'm saying it, but that's exactly what I would like to see going forward. Really, I'll stop here. Thank you. I want to thank you also, Ahsan, for arranging this. It's been going on, by the way, for a long time, this gathering. Ahsan, I think a few months ago, she told me that there was something of this kind, that you asked me to please make space in my diary to be here. I just so wish I could split myself into 2 or 3, but at least I did make it here. And also, everyone else that is here, I thank you for your time. And I hope that you also, those of you who are here, make very good use of this facility. Thank you.